Hello, welcome to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. And we're going bold. Absolutely, we're going bold with the experts today. And I am so excited to be with the experts. Aren't you, Joanne?
Oh, it's really exciting. The more we know, the more we don't know, the more we want to know. And these experts are teaching us so many things in a short period of time that takes them years, sometimes decades to learn. And they can tell us in the next 40 minutes.
I know, I can't wait. So, you guys just go to goingboldmedia.com. You can find all the information there on all our hosts and guests that we have. But we're on the Link to Expert Business Showcase, and I am one of the hosts, Cece Shatz. I'm the doyenne of relationship building. I have my good friend here, Joanne. Joanne, tell us about you.
Joanne Weiland, Why Land When You Can Fly. I'm the founder of the Collaborative Cloud Community, Link to Expert, or you can find an expert in minutes because you can't always know an expert. You can't always be an expert, but you can always hire one. And if you want to be known as an expert, you can also be found in minutes. So we invite you to use Link to Expert. We have like 85,000 blogs, articles, videos, podcasts for you to take advantage of and again, learn from the experts.
Yeah, that is absolutely terrific. We're having a little bit of technical problems, so stick around with us. Let's muddle through because you know how the internet is, right? So sometimes we just have to make things go. But we're going to be talking with a wonderful speaker today. You want to bring us in, Joanne, and I'll bring her up forward. You want to
Sure.
introduce her?
I'd like to introduce you to Elaina Zuker. I've actually known her for quite a few years, actually, since 2020, the beginning of that. One of my colleagues, Eleanor Stutz, raved about her and said, "You got to meet Elaina," and that they were colleagues for years. And I just get so excited because she is a true collaborator. And as everybody knows, that's my middle name, collaboration. And she and I actually have already referred each other to at least 12 more people just in this short period of time. So we really want to welcome her because she really walks the walk. Welcome, Elena.
Thank you so much. It's great to be with you both. The power of women networking, it's just so powerful. It's like one and one equals 100, right? Because
Yeah.
looking right now at you two, I see, that I've met Joanne a few years ago, and then she introduced me to Cece, and I think I introduced Cece to a couple of guests. I
Well,
right?
thank
And
you.
so it goes. So
Yes.
thank you for having me.
Well,
I
And
you're quite welcome, and it's our honor actually to have you because I don't know if Joanne had mentioned. Did you mention that Elena? She does management training consulting firm, and she's the author of 11 books, and I think you're writing another one on leadership, management, assertiveness, influence, and communication.
yes,
So, what
I did
an
nominate it.
honor have you here. So yeah. So I'm just overwhelmed with it. So if I act like one of those starstruck,
oh
people,
please, I'm just
just
listen, I'm
ignore
just
me.
sitting in my office with my laptop like everybody else these days, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're going to talk about the 7 secrets of
Great.
influence, the portable power of the 21st century. And geez, let's get on to that because 7 secrets. Of course, you've written a book, about that. So we don't want to give everything away, but let's
Exactly.
talk about how things have changed, in the environment of management and networking and all of those things. So about influence, I mean, that's really what we want to do, isn't it, Elena? We want to go out and influence people, right? And we're hoping that they'll come on board with us as we grow our business. So tell us a little bit about that. Why did you decide to get into this type of field?
Okay. Well, my background, people can see my bio on LinkedIn and elsewhere, but, I came from sales. I was selling encyclopedias door to door in the freezing cold suburbs of Montreal when I was 18. And I had a very tough but very smart manager. And I always say that was my MBA. When you have to report in after a day of cold knocking with frostbitten fingers, that's how, it's very easy to measure. Did you get the sale or did you not?
The school of
So,
hard knocks. I love the
the
way you
school of
phrase
hard
it.
knocks. So
Yes.
I had a long career in sales and marketing, and I lived in New York for 20 years,
Mhm.
and had a career at the height of the advertising agency world. Mad Men. That was the world I lived in, and I was very successful. But I kind of got, number one, burned out, and also philosophically, I was getting kind of bored of telling women that we're fat, that our skin is not good, and whatever we smell, and I was. It just didn't feel like a meaningful life. And so, I took a break and I went back to graduate school and got a degree in something called organization development, which is kind of psychology from a bird's eye view looking at organizations. Okay,
Right.
so that's kind of the foundation. And then I was able to weave together my business experience with academic practice, and I created this influence program. And then I tested it. I was very lucky because, I got paid to test it by my very largest first client, which was a little company in New Jersey called AT&T.
Oh, wow. Just a
Yeah,
little company there.
little company.
One
So
that nobody knows about.
exactly. So, I was very lucky, and I guess they thought I was pretty good, and I always appreciate because I really was a late bloomer in the field, and I created the first ever women in management training program for AT&T, which was very exciting. But the influence program kept rising to the surface. So that's to answer your question.
Mhm.
I found that more and more people who were not in sales, who were shy, who didn't have the basic interpersonal skills, they might have been very skilled technically, but they didn't know how to get their ideas across. And so there were, zillions of those tech people in AT&T. And T.
Right.
And so they saw the need for this. And so over the years, whenever a client needed something more, I kind of added more bells and whistles to the program. So, like when American Express wanted to use my program all over the world, I realized that the questionnaire I had been using was kind of like little more than a Cosmo quiz. And so I had to hire a team of psychologists to create a psychological questionnaire out of it.
Good idea.
So, like, I had to upgrade everything for it to be ready, to play in the big leagues. And so
Mhm.
that's one, lesson I always give to entrepreneurs, which is that, your stuff, your website, your everything, the way that you look, the way that you speak has to be your brand. And I learned that a very hard way, actually, with AT&T, because I was, they were paying me a lot of money to do these programs. And one day, my client, who also had become a friend, she said, Elaina, our people love you. We love your course. Everybody learns a lot, but you cannot operate with those Xerox handouts, at the way that we're positioning this class, and frankly, at how much we're paying you. You have this like pieces of, so, the very next day I hired a design team, for like whatever it cost, I didn't care. And they created all these like beautiful, images and binders. So, like I say, I always had to respond or wanted to keep upgrading my product because, to stand out, it's like not easy. And in New York City, believe me, it's not easy.
Mhm.
So that's why I say the School of Hard Knocks. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I created that. And
I was going to say the thing is, it's like you got to keep up with the change, right? It swiftly happens, and you
so
got to
that's why
keep.
I'm mentioning that. Exactly. Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
you always say too, Elaina, that it's not what you know and it's not who you know,
Very good.
but tell us more about what it is.
Okay, I will. Thank you. So, there are some trends which I talk about in the program, and I do want to mention. I recently, during COVID, actually, I was very productive because there was nothing much else to do, and I partnered with a team of educational psychologists, and we together created an e-learning version of my one-day live program.
Brilliant.
That's on my website. So it's you can find it under products. There's a link, and you can post it later on. I don't want to interrupt the flow like right now. So what I talk about is that there are several trends in the world that are forcing everybody to learn more about influence, and that's why it's not what you know. So one of them is competition. Okay, so that's one force that in order to be kind of like to win in this, whatever this game is, you need to have the influence skills to get your ideas across, to get people to come on board if you have a newsletter or a program, right?
Mhm.
And it's more challenging these days, which brings me to the next trend, which is technology. So we are so connected. Like here we are I'm up in Canada, and we can hear each other clear as day.
Mhm.
But I paradoxically, while we are all connected, as a famous futurologist said, high tech leaps ahead and high touch lags behind. And that may be a situation that your singles tell you about, Cece,
Mhm.
right? Because although we are all connected, we have lost the personal touch. So
Yes.
that's another reason, like influence skills is kind of a refresh
Mhm.
of your honing your personal skills. And then some other trends are innovation, which
Mhm.
is happening more and more quickly. Like I just found out the other day that e-learning program that I worked so hard to create now needs some tech upgrades. And it's only been 3 years,
Mhm.
right? So it's like crazy. And you need influence skills. We're all expected to be innovators, right? But you could have the best idea in the world, but it's going to gather dust if you don't have the influence skills to persuade somebody to invest in it, to buy it, to join it, right? And
Mhm.
I know that we have all had, as single women entrepreneurs, heaven knows, we've had those experiences. And then the
Right.
last trend is the change in organizational structure. So whether you're in a company or selling to one, right? If you're a vendor, as I am, and you know, you are to get sponsors,
Mhm.
organizations have changed, and the command and control way of leading no longer works. So that's why I say that with all these changes going on, neither what you know, your technical expertise, because that can vanish overnight with the next technical iteration,
Mhm.
right? Or your network of contacts, which can go up in a puff of smoke, as happened to me when a client, uh, when they downsize a division, when the person that you've spent, a year getting to know in a company situation, they're like transferred, to the moon, and you don't have that contact anymore. And,
Right.
it happens all the time. And so that means that your network of contact may not be as predictable or forever, as you think. And that's why what I call influence skills is portable power. So it's not dependent on who you know or what you know, but rather it's a set of skills that you carry. And it also leads to confidence. Because if I know that I have this toolkit and it can serve me wherever I land,
Mhm.
then I have a lot of confidence. I may not know what the next situation is, but I have a lot of strategies on call to help me. Okay,
Hmm.
so that's why influence has become so important. And it's funny because I had this title years ago, and now the word influencer is a big deal now. But so you asked me what influence is. So let me say that it's not having a lot of followers on Instagram. Okay. Because that too, like what happened to Twitter? I don't know. I knew somebody who had 900,000 followers on Twitter. What are they called now? X? So these platforms are kind of wobbly also,
Mhm.
right? So the way that I define influence, and I know you're going to have a follow up question about something that people worry about. Influence is simply a power, like electricity or nuclear power, okay, which you can use for whatever ends or goals you may have. Okay, and so it can be used for good or bad. Can I just correct the banner on the bottom there? It's www.ez influence with
Oh,
an
wow.
S. Yeah.
We would be sending everybody to the wrong
Go
place.
to there. It's funny
And we don't want
because
to be X.
I
We,
guess because maybe in your conversations you talk about exes a lot.
that is so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, no worries. So so that's basically the definition of influence. And curiously, there's an archaic definition in the dictionary of influence. Nobody really reads that part, but it says influence is an archaic flowing of a mysterious fluid from the stars, said
Really?
to have magical powers over people, which
Oh,
really is funny. I mean, that's in the dictionary.
yeah.
And if influence may seem like magic, and just like magic, if you're doing it smoothly, it looks kind of awesome, but it requires a lot of skills and practice behind the scenes, right?
Mhm.
But Elena, sometimes I feel like some people think influence is like a form of manipulation.
Good thing, yes. So, a lot of people worry about that aspect. And, if you feel, even subconsciously, that you're kind of doing something bad, you're not going to want to learn it, right?
Right.
So, this is why it's very important to clear this up.
Mhm.
So, I like to look at the manipulation issue in kind of two ways. So one of them is intent, and the other is effect. So the intent is, are my intentions honorable?
Mhm.
Okay, so is it my intention to fool you or manipulate you or get something from you outside your will? Or do I want you to be enriched, enhanced, educated, learn something
Mhm.
Hmm.
out of our exchange? And then the second dimension is the intent and the effect. So, what is the effect of my influence attempts over there at your end? Do you feel as a result of our interaction that you feel that you've learned something, that you've gotten something you didn't have before? Or do you feel used?
Hmm.
So, as I said before, it's a power, and it's up to me as the influencer, especially if I'm very good at it, to kind of tread carefully and be sure that my intentions are honorable, right? So, if I can answer those two, I would say it's positive influence. So, does that
Good.
answer that, Joanne?
Yes, and I'd like to learn more after the break because there's a couple more questions that I would really love you to, help us understand.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so we're going to take a quick break. So, but before we do, let's make sure that everyone has your website. It's EZ, right? EZ, not EX, EZ Influence, INFLUENCE.com. So make sure you guys check it out because she's got lots of information there that you don't want to miss out on. And she's giving us a free gift here today. She's giving us a free booklet, Influence Defined. So you just go to her website, easyinfluence.com/free, and then the little dash booklet. And you can find it there. Just go to the website and you can easily find it on the website. So check that out. But I want to thank you so much for giving us that free booklet. So we do
My
appreciate
pleasure.
giving our audience these wonderful gifts. They're just being showered by our wonderful guests, and I just love it. So I really do appreciate you, Elaina, for doing that.
Oh,
So
it's my
everyone,
pleasure.
you're listening to Link to Expert Business Showcase, and we'll be right back.
All right. Wow.
Hi, I'm John Thomas. I want to share with you a professional products and services directory we call Going Solo Directory. And you need to check this out. If you want exposure to your business or are seeking professional product or services, this directory has it all. And that membership, for the many special features, you get the benefit of a worldwide exposure with a 40-minute video interview on an international business showcase. All this for just one low annual fee. For more information, contact goingsolodirectory.com.
We're back. You're here on Link to Expert Business Showcase. I am Cece Shatz, and I'm the doyenne of relationship building. Man, we've had a great time here today. So I have my good friend here with me, Joanne. Joanne, so everybody knows she is the Chief Connections Officer and founder of the collaboration cloud community, Link to Expert.com. Let's just take a moment here real quick and tell everybody what linktoexpert.com is.
Well, I found that, so many of us have an area of expertise, and not everybody realizes it maybe, but it saves you so much time. It saves you so much money when you do work with an expert, but it also saves your reputation. A little bit about what Elaina was talking about, like did you notice she hired several different experts to do different things within her own company because you can't always know how to do it. And even if you could learn how to do it, and it might take you even only 30 days, but many times these types of skills will take you years to learn. And then by the time you would learn it, it would be different, especially in this world of, fast paced. So I just knew that, the people that I found were successful. They hired somebody to help them. So, but then I couldn't find a resource to be able to help people find them fast and to be able to hire them by looking at all their credentials. So Norman Peel was always my original mentor, and he always said, find a need and fill it. And I was like, oh, I found a need that, we need to have a resource out there that people can find the different types of experts they need, check out all their credentials, and hire them in minutes. So that's why it was created back in 2010.
That's wonderful. And I know that it has a lot of, um, information on there, a lot of different things that you can do, different tasks that you can do that can help build your business and connect with experts. So it is great to be able to share that with everyone. But let's get back to our wonderful guest here today because I just love her so much. We are so excited to have her. So Elaina Zuker, she is the president of Elaina Zuker Associates. And those of you that may not know her, she has a management training consulting firm. She's the author of 11 books on the leadership, management, assertiveness, influence, and communication, which we all need to have in our lives is further
Well,
communication.
that's my next question, Cece. Elaina, I want to know, is being an influencer the same as having the proper communication skills?
Great question. Yes. Hi, everybody. Again. Thanks for thank you for warning that we were live during the commercial. Uh, so here's the thing. Um, Communication skills is a broad category of skills. And you may have great communication skills, meaning getting along well with others, plays well with others. But you may not be able to influence anybody to do a thing. I did want to mention that the influence, the power of influence means, and I want to reiterate it because it's so important, is the power to what? It's the power to affect other people's attitudes, values, beliefs, and behaviors. But you can only measure it. I mean, there's the only evidence that's available to us is the behavior. So, I may hear from somebody 10 years later, you really changed my attitude about something. And like, I would never know that because I have not observed it in his or her behavior. Okay.
Mhm.
So when I give people the influence questionnaire, it only measures that set of skills, those clusters of behaviors having to do with influencing others.
Mhm.
So it's not like some of your listeners might be familiar with things like the DISC or all these
Mhm.
other personality style questionnaires. This is not that. It's not opposed to that. It's just let's call it a slice of that. So
Mhm.
it's like very specifically only influence,
Mm.
right? And I tell people that whatever your style was or your score when you took those personality tests, it won't fight with what you find out about your influence profile. It will be congruent.
Great.
It's
Because
just
I
different
was
words.
wondering about that. Yeah, because of the fact that I was thinking that, some people, are they naturally
Oh,
influencers?
yeah. Well, it may seem that way because, for me, I've often thought, some people just like got there first or, they had warmed up prospects or whatever, or like my product or pitch wasn't good enough. All these things we say to ourselves, which are not
Right.
helpful. And what I found with the influence, and let me just briefly take the mystery away. So, in the influence program, which we don't have time to detail here, but you get an assessment called the Influence Styles Inventory. And that's in all of the books. And there's even a little mini book that has a shortened version of that. And
Yes.
it asks you some questions. Like the real questionnaire has 55 questions, but that's only in the class, in the live class,
Right.
right? But for the purposes of webinars or other short, and there's in this little mini book, there are only 12 questions. And what you instantly learn is there are 6 styles, different styles.
Mhm.
And I don't like to label people. For example, I'll give you a couple of examples, which is not such a big mystery. Some people come out very strong in the telling style.
Mm.
right? So that's someone who likes a lot of facts, figures, data. And when they're trying to sell you something, they may inundate you, with a lot of good, hard information. Now, others might have a very emotional style. And if someone comes, let's say, at me with a lot of figures and facts, I just go like, brain kind of dead
Yeah.
because I get excited by visions, by big dreams. And of course, then the key thing is, can you manifest them? And we three, I think, are a good example. I don't know your scores. I think that's Joanne, you may have taken my questionnaire a long time ago. I don't know if you did.
Yes.
But the point is that when you find the distribution of points across the 6 styles, it's just a quick, like, screenshot of you in the moment. And
Mm.
it reflects your default strategies. This is what your favorite MO is, because, like, it's a habit. Or you may not know that there are other strategies available. And so what this gives people is, number one, their awareness. Because as I said, giving that example of, sometimes you come out of a meeting and you're successful and you don't even know what you did. Like, right? Like if I asked you, wow, how did you do that? Right? I don't know. Like, this person liked me or whatever. Or they had a deadline, they had to pick something. But, right? But that's not so helpful. Like, because if I want to go on from that successful day, I would like to understand what exactly I did and how I did it so I could replicate it. And
Right.
if I bombed, then that doesn't have to be like that forever. Maybe I could have adjusted something and come back and be successful. So the bottom line is that once you learn these styles, uh, here's the funny news. Of course, we're also interested in ourselves, right? We want to know, oh, me, what's my style?
Right.
But you know what? That's less important than using these 6 styles as a lens through which to assess the other person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like I say, it's like you get better radar.
Right.
Once you learn this, like, language, it is a language. Then you have a better way. It's like having 3D glasses. Suddenly, the profile of the other person. Of course, the best way is to, you can't just slap a questionnaire under somebody's nose when you're trying to sell them. But this is a way that you can become more aware, right?
Mm-hmm.
More astute. And then it gives you more ways. So if you fail one way, now you know that there may be 5 other approaches. So, like, you're not stuck. You don't need to quit.
Right.
Okay. And then you may ask,
No, I think it's really good because I think that's important to know. You know, I mean, I know when we talk about sales, you need to know what the what your customer is like. And I know
exactly.
years ago I used to sell motorhomes, and I didn't know zip about motorhomes. Really, I've never even driven a motorhome, and I would sell these great big old motorhomes, but if I was talking to someone that was very technical and they wanted to know about the engine, start asking me questions.
Exactly.
Do you think I knew about engines? No. All I knew was I memorized stuff about the engine. And then as soon as I started mentioning a few things, they just take right off because they know, right? And then you've got the ones that wanted the dream of going and traveling across,
Right.
and all that. So of course then I would go into that. So it's like you have to know who you're talking to and what it is
Absolutely.
And it's not really a form of a manipulation. It's just really getting to understand what's important to them.
Exactly. So I'm going to tell a short story if we have time.
Yeah, just a few
Uh,
minutes, 5 minutes.
5 minutes? Okay. But I first want to mention, because you may ask, if there are 6 styles, why is it called 7 secrets?
Right.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah. Because, so the 6 styles are styles or strategies, right? Like ways of behaving. All of us in our experience have talked about those different approaches.
Hmm.
And nobody should be labeled a this or a that. It's just that you have certain, let's call it muscles, that are more or less exercised.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it really is your default.
Right.
And so the way to become better at all the other ones that you're not good at is what? Is to practice. Learn them and practice. Exactly. So the 7th secret is kind of an uber secret. And what we say is that influence equals A plus F. So influence equals attentiveness plus flexibility,
Hmm.
Mm.
right? So you're using your better radar to be more attentive. That's to listen and observe.
Sorry.
Every opportunity is fresh. You can't make assumptions. Like I know that there's a question people ask is like, are all engineers, for example, a certain type? You never know is the answer. So
Right.
influence happens one person at a time. In
Okay.
fact, a lot of engineers are big dreamers.
Really?
Right. I mean, because then they may come up with inventions or something.
Right.
Right. So the 7th secret is influence equals attentiveness, learning a bit more about the other, and then flexibility to be able to jump into another set of behaviors. You don't change the heart. It doesn't mean selling out. It's not changing the heart or the integrity of what you're offering.
Right.
It's just changing the format,
Okay.
right? So it's in a way, it's like just speaking in a different language or using a
Right.
different font, right? Or a different design style. Like, with AI now, you can have give it a couple of paragraphs and say, would you uh, make this a more informal kind of post?
Mhm.
It's like amazing, but that's another topic. So, how many minutes more do we have? So, I can either tell a little story or answer more questions.
We have two.
Too. Okay. So, I think I'll save the story and see if you have more questions.
Okay. So do you have more questions, Joanne?
Actually, I really was wondering a couple of the things you already hit on, like are engineers all one style? And I agree with you that they're not, but I think sometimes we do think we can go into the client, for an example, and know, in just using engineers again as an example, that they're an engineer, and you feel like they need to know the facts, you
And
know?
maybe not.
Right. And Cece hit on it with the, even the RVs. I mean, an engineer might be wanting to buy an RV, but he wants to, go to Wyoming, and he could care less about the engine. He just wants to know it's going to get him all the way to Wyoming.
I
And
just
So,
want to know
right.
about the
Yeah.
decor,
right. So
right?
it's so interesting. And I really feel like you have to understand before you're understood. And,
Good one.
that's easy to say, but it's really challenging to do because I feel like God gave us 2 ears and one mouth. What does that mean? We're supposed to listen twice as much or more than we
Absolutely.
talk. So I find when I talk to clients that many times they tell me the best conversation they ever had was with, you know, me at that time, meaning because if I be quiet and listen, I mean, ask questions. I don't mean don't talk at all, but ask an open-ended question, and then you can even discover which type they are, like you're talking about. Learn which one would be applicable to go to discuss with them about your motorhome or whatever it is that you're
Exactly.
promoting. Is
Well,
that correct?
you graduate.
Right.
Good
Yeah.
for you. Exactly right.
I think that's
Exactly.
very good. Yeah. It's true that I think that you have to kind of know what they're looking for, right? So you ask those kind of questions so you can determine what it is they're looking for. So then you can give them what their needs are,
But
Yeah.
it's so
answer
funny.
their needs. Yeah.
Sometimes, as Joanne was saying, when you listen and ask them very good questions, at the end they say, "Wow, everything you said makes so. I mean, you may not have said a thing, and I see that you really get me,
Mhm.
right? And it's just a matter of being heard." And I want to quote Katharine Hepburn
Okay.
to close. So she said, when you want to get along with people, it's way more important that they think that they're fascinating rather than that you're fascinating.
Good point. Yes.
Okay.
Very
So
good.
when I leave the conversation, I want you to feel like you're the smartest, coolest person on the planet.
Right. Good point,
Right?
Elaina. Thank you for sharing with us. We so appreciate you being with
Oh,
us
that is
today.
wonderful. Well, I tell you
Thank
what,
you. My
learn from an
pleasure.
expert. That's for sure. You learn from an expert. So again, we want to make sure we share your website, which is easy, and then influence, influence.com. And then, of course, run right out now. Don't wait another minute and get the free gift. It's a free booklet on influence defined. And again, just go to the website, easyinfluence.com, free booklet, and you can get that. So just check out our website. It's right there for you. And, really get to know yourself, get to know the other party, and be the influencer that you truly want to be. I think that's a very important.
Thank you.
So
Let me just say that you all of my books are on Amazon. So
yeah.
there's
Oh,
a
good.
brand new version of the Seven Secrets of Influence, and color coordinated.
Oh yeah. Look at
Like
you.
you were saying about the brand, it's your brand.
I
Yes.
You're
had a
very
new
stylish.
branding. Exactly.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, so everything's on Amazon. I won't go into the list right now. And if you like, the e-learning program is on the website. You can just type in the website / become an influence winner.
Okay.
Okay, and that's the page describing the e-course. And then
Perfect.
stay tuned to these ladies, and because I certainly will. And you can just like learn a ton, because I'm not by far the only expert in town, and we all learn from each other.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, I've learned today, so I want to thank you so much for all that you shared with us. It's
Yes.
tremendous.
Thank you,
So
Elaina.
again, we have Elaina
Thank you
Zuker
for
with us.
having
So
me.
Elaina Zuker. So go on Amazon, type in Elaina, and then her last name is Zuker. Pull up all her 11 books, put them on your need to read list, and do that. So again, the 7 Secrets of Influence. So you want to definitely check that one out. So thank you so much for being on the
Thank
show here
you
with us
so
today.
much, Joanne. Thank you for the introduction and all you've done to help me and my business. I hope I can reciprocate in any way you need, and you as well, Cece.
Well,
What a
thank you.
pleasure to meet you all. And hey, let's do this again.
I say so. Yeah, for sure. I was going to say, do we have to twist your arm? But
Not
I'm
at
glad,
all.
I'm
Listen,
glad you had fun. Yeah,
I did have fun. It flew by, and I just feel like, we just had a chat. I kind of forgot about the camera. So
good, good.
that's always a good sign. You
Yeah,
have a wonderful day, and
Thank you.
thank you so much. I'm so honored to be invited. I appreciate it.
thank you.
And
We
once
really
you
do.
send me the link, I will post it to my audience, my LinkedIn followers.
She
Okay,
has lots of LinkedIn
will do.
followers. Yes.
Yeah, we'll do that for sure. You are a blessing. So thank you so much. Okay, everyone, you're listening to Link to Expert Business Showcase on the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. Check out our Going Solo, Going Bold. We're going bold with the experts today. So goingboldmedia.com is the website. So check it out. And I want to thank my good friend here, Joanne, with me.
Thank you.
Joanne Weiland, she's great. I want to do a shout out to what she does, the Chief Connections Officer and the founder of the Collaboration Cloud Community. If you don't know what it is, you must go to the website and check it out, linktoexperts.com. You will be amazed at all the different things you can do and connect with experts on that website. So I am Cece Shatz, the doyenne of relationship building, and I love being with you. And I want to thank you so much for watching this great show, Link to Expert Business Showcase. We'll catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much, and love what you are doing. It's absolutely great.
Oh,
Can't
thank
wait
you.
to talk